Hey, this is Matt Pichet, the Fruitful Investor and your investing coach. And today's video is about single family versus multifamily investment properties. Which is better? This is a question I get asked all the time from my subscribers, from people that I meet with. Everybody wants to know what's better, single family or multifamily? And that question can't be answered with a black and white answer. It really depends on what your real estate goal is, right? So, for example, if you're looking to retire in the next 3 years or very quickly, right? You want to get out of your job, you hate your job, you just want to kick your feet up and be a full-time real estate investor, okay? Multifamily might be a better option for you. Why? Because it generally cash flows more, okay? Now, if you want something that's very easy and boring, right? This is the line where I'm into, where I love it, passive, really boring autopilot business, then single family is definitely for you. But you're not going to retire from that likely in a couple of years. It's going to take some time. But when you do, it's going to be much, much easier. Okay, so that's a quick, but we'll get into the top 3 reasons on each. There's a number of pros and cons, but I'm going to go over just kind of the top 3 most obvious, right? But if you're a new investor, it's likely not obvious, obviously. But I'm going to go through the top 3 real quick of each pro and con. So number 1, we'll start with single family, right? So the pro, generally a much higher quality tenant, by far. Okay, so why do we have higher quality tenants with single family, right? Generally, this is how it goes. The higher the rent, generally, the higher the quality of the tenant. Why? Because if they can afford more rent, it usually means they have a better job, they're more career focused, right? They're more focused on their life, so they're not going to play the games with you, with the skipping rent and all this. That doesn't mean it won't happen, it's just more unlikely, and generally they're a higher quality tenant. That's a rule of thumb. The higher the rent, the better the quality of tenant usually. The lower the rent, what do you think? The lower the quality of tenant. So that's a general rule. Okay, the other pro is that once you get that high quality tenant, they generally stay longer. Again, why? Because they're paying a higher rent. It's usually a nicer, bigger home. Maybe they have a family. Again, they're more career focused, they're more long-term focused, so they want to stay somewhere, put their roots down, raise their family, for example, and this is why they generally stay longer, okay? Another reason, it's boring. As I mentioned earlier, single family is so boring, which is why I love it. It just runs on autopilot. Right? Again, you have one tenant under one roof, so they're not fighting with anybody. It's just very easy. They're family focused, they're career focused. Again, I keep going over that. They generally just don't do problems, especially if you follow the systems that I do to keep your tenants happy and you keep checking on your home. Man, the business is so easy and straightforward. And last but not least, I'm going on a 4th one here, I know. But the other pro to single family, that you can sell the property to anyone. When you decide to liquidate that property, during 5 years, 10 years when you sell, you can sell it to anybody. You can sell it to a buyer, a regular buyer, you can sell it to an investor. There's lots of ways you can go, right? So I'll get into this. Well, multifamily, who are you gonna sell to, right? You have a 4-plex, 5-plex, 6-plex, 12-plex, who's gonna buy that? An investor, only, right? A homeowner's not gonna buy a 12-plex or a 6-plex, generally. So you only have one type of person to buy that property. So that's a con for that, but we'll get to that. So the cons with single family, got my notes here so I don't forget anything. Okay, if they don't pay rent, let's say they do skip out, you have to pay all the costs, right? So that's the biggest thing with multifamily investors. That's the plus they have going for them, is that if one tenant doesn't pay in the building, the other tenants are still paying, and then your expenses are minimized, right? Whereas a single family, if that tenant skips out on that rent, you're on the hook for the whole thing, the whole mortgage cost, all of the property taxes, right? You're not getting income from anywhere else to help supplement that. You're on the hook for everything, which sucks. But there's ways we can mitigate that. The other con is that there's less cash flow, usually, far less. Why? There's only one tenant, so one income source, and expenses are generally higher, right? In ratio. The mortgage is generally higher, so there's less cash flow coming in, so there's less cash flow for you to have. So again, that's what I mean. If you want to retire next year, man, you're going to need a lot of single family properties. But if you're in it for the long haul, it's a great business. The last con, again, I just said it, you need to be long term. You can't retire from single family really in 2 to 3 years unless you just go crazy and buy 50 or more properties generally. So but generally in Kitchener-Waterloo, a single family property will cash flow about $150 to $200 after everything. Property managers, 5% maintenance, 5% vacancy. If you don't know what I mean by those, watch my property of the week videos where I go through an entire calculation of monthly financials. You'll see exactly how I calculate cash flow and where I get these numbers. So generally, it's about $150 to $200 a month. So how many of those do you need to retire, right? A ton. That's why it's long term, and it makes a lot of sense to pay those mortgages down. You know, you buy 30 single family properties, let's say, you hold on for 5-10 years, you sell off 20, keep your best 10, take all that income you just made, pay down the 10, hopefully you've paid off the 10 or paid off a number of the 10, and now you're talking. Now you have an easy autopilot business that makes you a ton of money. So that's kind of the strategy for single family. Okay, so let's go into multifamily. I'll just pull the board off. So the first pro of multifamily, kind of went over it. There's more tenants under one roof. So again, if one skips out, you have other income coming in. You're on the hook for so much. The other pro is that they generally have much higher cash flow. Again, more tenants under one roof, so you're maximizing income under one building. You have a lot of income coming in, you have generally a lot more cash flow. So that's the thing, if you're really in it for the cash flow quickly, multifamily is definitely the better route for you. And the other pro, which I love about multifamily, is that value is dictated by income. So the value of the building is really a matter of how much income is coming. Income dictates value with multifamily. So the more rent you're getting, or if you're really good at renovating properties, attracting good tenants through good marketing, raising that rent. When you raise the rent, you raise the value of the building. Right? Single family doesn't work that way. You can have high rent, and that's fantastic. When you go to sell it with a tenant in, let's say, it doesn't matter what the tenant's paying rent. It's what the market dictates, what the buyer dictates that to be, and what the comps are. With multifamily, those play a part. The comparable sales do play a part, but income is way more important to dictate value, especially when you're buying bigger buildings, right? Especially when you get up to 8 units, 12 units, and plus, your value is strictly dictated by the income you're getting. So again, if you're good at raising the income and converting tenants, kind of phasing out the bad tenants and bringing in new good ones, that's a great business model for multifamily to become wealthy. So the con, as I went over it, only investors buy these properties. So when you do decide to sell, your end buyer is only going to be an investor, especially when you get above 6 units. A homeowner's not going to buy that. So you're dealing with more sophisticated buyers, right? Which is where the income comes in, right? If you're getting good income, you can say, hey man, I'm getting the best income in this whole neighborhood with this sixplex, right? The investors get that, and they're going to pay that top dollar for your property. So a little different there. The other con is going on with what I talked about with the single family. The tenants are generally much lower quality, right? And especially when you start getting over general, this isn't a blanket statement, but when you get over like 30 unit buildings and 50 unit buildings, the tenant profile just drops. Not even close to single family quality. Why? Because the rents are very low. We're talking $600 a month, $700 a month. Okay, when people can only afford, $700 a month, what do you think the quality is going to be generally? Not all people, right? Generally, much lower quality. But if you have good management in place, have good systems in place, it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing, right? You can totally make that a great thing for you to become wealthy. And the last con with multifamily is that it needs much more management. There's generally so much. I know multifamily investors in the area that I work with closely and good friends of mine. They're always busy with something, always running around, even with property managers in place. There's always something going on with big buildings, right? Tenants fighting with each other, toilets breaking, there's older buildings, things need to be replaced, the roof goes on a flat roof building, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's always something with multifamily buildings that needs attention. And if you have a property manager, a lot of people think, yeah, that's fine. I'll just hire a property manager, they'll take care of it. Totally wrong. Who's managing the property manager, right? You have to manage the property manager. You're taking the emails, the phone calls about the broken toilets. So there's a ton more management, especially the higher you go. So just keep that in mind. You have the comparables of multifamily and single family, and again, it really comes down, they're both fantastic avenues to go to. Don't think I prefer, I like one better, I do like one better than the other. It's single family, obviously. But I would never discount multifamily, for sure. It's just a different lifestyle and strategy to your lifestyle. If you want quick cash flow, right? Multifamily, easily. That's where you should go if you just want to get out of your job. Or do you want passive, chill on the beach, kick your feet up, but you have a long-term plan? Single family is definitely where you want to go for that. So again, pick your style and pick the right investment avenue that fits for you. So that's the tip for today. If you got any value from this, please hit that like button right below this video. It goes a long way to help my business and help more views to this video, and I would really appreciate it if you just hit that like button. Alright? See you in the next video.
Put your money in that real estate.
Hey, before you click another video, I want to give you some free stuff. You like free stuff, right? Click the first 3 links below this video and get my 3 books absolutely free. Single Family Investing Made Simple, The Real Estate Investor's Handbook to Freedom, and my favorite, 101 Single Family Investing Tips. And last but not least, if you really want to take your business and life to the next level, you're definitely going to want to click on the 4th link to check out my Real Estate Investing Apprenticeship program. In this apprenticeship program, we'll be buying a property together, and I'll be teaching you everything I know about investing in real estate, all the while being your real estate investing coach. So check it out, get your free books, and don't forget to hit like right down here to help this video get more views. I really appreciate it. See you in the next video.